Well, good day, everybody. It's Carpo here. I woke up this morning and had my cup of coffee and a shower and went over to YouTube and was checking out my subscriptions, and there was a video on there by one of the channels I subscribe to, and it was called Is There Good and Evil, or Is Love Everywhere? Or something like that. I think it was, Is There Good and Evil, or Is Love in Everything? You know, when I heard that, I just kind of laughed to myself, thinking about last year about this time. Yeah, maybe a little longer. I'm not sure. I was making quite a few videos about this subject, and I was questioning good and evil for quite a while. And I never really resolved the question satisfactorily for myself as to whether or not good and evil exist in a sense of being independent forces of one another. And when I've had discussions with people in the past about good and evil, the debate ends up getting to the point where I can't explain myself and end up making it appear that I don't see anything as bad. But really I'm trying to explain why. Just because things happen doesn't mean we have to address a separate force to cause it. But after careful analysis over the last year, and many different stories, folklore, histories about evil forces and children who have had exorcisms and whatnot, I guess I do believe that there is a force. But I think that the big explanation that what I was really trying to convey is that that force I don't consider to be Satan or an individual consciousness. Rather, multiple consciousnesses or multiple forces all working on the same energy level, if that makes sense. It would be like saying that all psychics are run by the same psychic. That's how I would feel about, say, an evil, someone who conjures evil, assuming that these are all from the same force, this evil force that is one consciousness. Now, all of these mini consciousnesses, I guess, could be a larger consciousness in its entirety. And to that extent, one may be able to assign something like a force of evil to it, or Satan, if you will. I don't like that term because it implies that it's the actual character that was kicked out of heaven, so on and so forth. I think it's much more complicated than that. If you look at the story of, how Lucifer fell from grace. The mistaken term Lucifer, of course, I won't even get into the morning star thing, but he fell from grace, and that could be a very easy symbol to tie to us in general falling from grace. To give in to evil temptation, to let your desires take over, So my thought at the time was that it was a created force by the combined will and desire of mankind to have more than he deserves. So what I see evil is as a byproduct of our consciousness. I would not consider evil to have roamed before mankind was conscious enough to develop civilization, if you will. As soon as one person decided to take more than another, you can see how that would be considered evil. And so, as to the question, is there good and evil? I don't know. But I do know that there are forces out there which can cause a person to act in in a way that they maybe ordinarily would not. Um, the problem with things like this is we know that the brain has a very touchy circuitry, and that a person can easily manifest into some wild animal looking person, and that could explain many of the people who go nuts or considered evil through the past. But many of these things can't be explained. Many of the stories of these people can't be explained. The things that people have said, the things that people have done while under these trances, or it basically shows me that there is a force, there is an energy. And I think that it doesn't necessarily take any type of, the only learning we have to do to avoid it, I think, personally, is to learn about ourselves. And ask ourselves what we really want, what are our true intentions. Because if we don't know that, we're bound to fall into that pitfall. Now, as for love, I have some misgivings about that all one love world kind of idea. I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea that everything is love. In fact, I don't at all. Because what it's done, by making everything love, you've disassociated love from its original meaning. When I hear people say, well, I love everyone equally, even the worst of them, I ask why. There was a time in my life where I thought that I could accept and love everyone for the way that they are. But I don't. And I've wrestled with that idea for a few years now, Should I be completely tolerant and acceptant of just people, just say they're people? Or should I speak up when I see people doing wrong things and separate myself from those kind of people? And I've seen how many people choose the easy path. The easy path of bashing others, the easy path of choosing a side and saying the other side is wrong, the easy path of just becoming educated enough to make other people look dumb. People are who they are, and I think that every person knows what love is, if they've had any relationships in their life at all, even with a parent, with a dog, if you will. Of course, the human love is different, but not that much. Love is a feeling, an emotional feeling or attachment towards either an idea or a person, plant, whatever it may be. I'll cry sometimes if I see like a show where they show a whole bunch of rainforest being cut down, or a bunch of animals being slaughtered off. And so, yeah, I have emotion there. So yes, I love nature. I love animals. I love plants. But it's a different kind of love. But I guess what I'm saying is that I think that we belittle love as an emotion when we subscribe it to everything. And a couple of years back, when I began researching a lot more Hindu culture and Buddhism, I went on about a year-long excursion there, and I found some things that I really agreed with, which is why I went deeper into the religions and ideas. But in the end, I came out empty-handed, because it's not that I was trying to find a religion, don't get me wrong. What I was trying to do is find a belief system that was closest to living in harmony with nature. I did find that in Zen Buddhism, but I don't call myself a Zen Buddhist, because that would be foolish. Once you've labeled yourself, you aren't a Zen Buddhist. You're not even a Buddhist if you consider yourself a Buddhist, in my opinion. It becomes a bragging right. It's a Western fad, And I'm not saying that everyone's like that. I know there are a lot of respectful people out there who practice these practices, but don't brag about it. And In my day-to-day life, I analyze everything I do. I analyze every emotion. I analyze every intention. You know, if I'm trying to get myself out of something, I ask myself why. Why am I doing this? Am I trying to distract myself from something I need to do in this life right now? And by honestly answering myself, I find that I feel better in life. And so by being honest about not loving everyone, it makes it a lot easier to not just pretend. If someone's abusing you, let's say verbally, I've seen people that say, oh well, love and light, I love you, peace and love. I've done it to push people's buttons, but not to necessarily be completely tolerant and acceptant, because I believe that these emotions bottle up within us, and we fool ourselves constantly. It's just human nature. So I don't know what to think about love and all that jazz. I know what I feel when I have love, and I think that we belittle it by subscribing it to all these different ideas. Love is a force. Love is an energy. Love can carry weight. Love can move mountains. A group full of like-minded, loving individuals can change the world. And that's my opinion. And I'm Carpo, and I'm out.